All right, guys, there seems to have been an update between the showdown between Yellow Freight and the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. This strike that was pending for tomorrow, I'm not sure what this means, but I'm reading this directly off the Teamster.org website, right off the International Brotherhood of Teamsters website, Teamster.org. And this has been updated 2 days, 7/23. Press release. Strike averted at Yellow Freight, Holland. Under pressure from Teamsters leadership, Central states to extend health care benefits for workers at Yellow. That's interesting. Central states to extend health care benefits for workers at Yellow. I guess they should. The Central States Health Care and Welfare Fund agreed Sunday, today, to extend health care benefits for workers at Yellow Corp, operating companies YRC Freight Holland, under intense pressure from Teamster General President Sean O'Brien and General Secretary Treasurer Fred Zuckerman. Now, I'm not quite sure what this means, because it looks like it says here the Teamsters General President Sean O'Brien put pressure on Central States. Now, let me just read this again. The Central States Health Care and Welfare Fund agreed Sunday to extend health care benefits for the workers. It says from intense pressure from Teamster president. And so we have three different entities now at play. And I did a video yesterday stating that the Central States Pension Fund had been shored up due to a bailout. So we're talking about three different entities here. We're talking about Yellow Freight. We're talking about Central States Pension Fund, which is a separate organization. And we're talking about the Teamsters. So three different players here. So instead of the Teamsters putting pressure on Yellow, they put pressure on Central States. The extension of health care benefits for the Teamsters and their families averts a strike at the freight companies, which could have begun on Monday after Yellow failed to make a contractual obligation benefits payment of $50 million to Central States on July 15th. The agreement by Central States at the urging of the Teamsters gives Yellow 30 days to pay its bills, with the understanding that the company will do so within the next 2 weeks. Well, Yellow doesn't have any money. Okay, so let's look at this real quick. One, Yellow doesn't have any money. Yellow, from what we understand, has about $100 million cash. And not only that, customers are leaving Yellow because of the instability. They don't know what's going to happen. Everything's up in the air. Nobody knows what's going on for sure. Customers are leaving left and right. Uber Freight has pulled freight and customers from them. So I don't know where's Yellow going to pull this money out? Are they going to pull it out the rear? Is the Biden administration going to bail them out directly? So everybody gets a bailout. They got a bailout into 2020, $700 million. So Central States got a bailout, $36 billion. So Yellow's going to get another bailout? I don't know. The intense discussions between Teamster leadership and Central States successfully convinced fund trustees to reverse their previous decisions that health care benefits would end on July 23rd if Yellow remained delinquent. O'Brien subsequently ordered the Teamsters National Freight Industry Negotiating Committee to meet in person with Yellow representatives on Sunday evening. Yeah, I wonder what that meeting's going to be like. Meetings will take place in Washington, D.C. In Washington, D.C. to review the state of the company and current contract. Yet no, meeting in Washington, D.C. to meet with some power brokers and meet with some government officials to see if they can get some money. Is probably what's going on. Meeting in Washington, D.C. Why would they meet in Washington, D.C.? Let's see here. As the Teamsters and Yellow sit down, the reversal by Central States will keep health care benefits paid and hard-working Teamsters on the jobs for the time being. Now, I don't know what's going on per se. I'm not going to sit here and pretend. However, my spidey senses tell me that if the Teamsters convinced Central States to pay the health care benefits for the workers for the next, I don't know, 2 weeks, a month, whatever, and they're meeting in Yellow, and all the big players are meeting today in Washington, D.C. That tells me that someone from the federal government is in on this. Someone from the government has said, you got a bailout coming. Keep the doors open. It's what it seems like to me. Or at least they're going to try. That's what they're going to try. They're going to talk about a bailout. Our members at YRC Freight in Holland cannot work without health care, and the Teamsters work tirelessly to ensure an immediate strike at Yellow could be averted. These discussions were not easy, but Central States has made meaningful movement under pressure from the union. We are seeking a real solution, bailout from the government, but let this solution today serve as a profound reminder that our members can only endure so many sacrifices. Teamsters at Yellow simply work too hard and have already given so much. Yeah. So that's pretty much the end of the article. So I don't know what's happening exactly behind closed doors, but according to this article, if the Teamsters convinced Central States, who was in charge of the healthcare and the pension fund, convinced them to go ahead and keep on paying. And they're saying that, well, we're going to give Yellow time to pay their bills. We're going to give them 2 weeks to pay their bills. And they're meeting in Washington tonight. Yellow's in Washington tonight, basically, with knee pads in hand. They're going to do some begging. God knows what else. Because that's the only way Yellow's going to pay their bills. Because there's no money. So they got to get it from somewhere, which is not right. So why should the government bail them out again? I don't see them bailing out small business. But I don't know what's happening. Let's not jump the gun. Let's see how this plays out.